Hare Krishna. Om Gyantimidandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutaha Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sta Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashtatade Shatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhishya Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So welcome all of you all for our Bhagavad Gita overview series. It's a little hot, right? That AC is not working. I think that AC also has an issue. Even this is not functioning. We'll have to sort it out. So probably we can slightly open the windows so that there's some fresh air. This is working. This is not working. Yeah, but yeah. One shall start focusing on the class. Will not be bothered so much. No. Recipe for everyone to go to sleep. So today we are going to discuss the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. We discussed chapter 1. Last week we discussed chapter 2. Anyone remembers the acronym for chapter 2? Gita. Gita. So what does G stand for? Guru. Shlokas number 1 to 10 of the second chapter explain the concept of Guru, importance of Guru. Then I was identity, about the Atma. 11 to 30, I think, right? 11 to 30 was identity. And then T stood for two dharmas. 31 to 53 shlokas of the second chapter. Lord Krishna explained two kinds of duties. One is the duty of the Atma, Sanatan Dharma, which is bhakti to Krishna, and the duty of the body, which varies for different people. Someone is a Kshatriya, someone is a Brahmana, like that. And then the last section, A of the acronym, Atma Ram, or the qualities of a self-realized soul, from 53 till 72. So that was overview of the second chapter. So today we are discussing the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is called Karma Yoga. So this chapter has total 43 verses, and the acronym for chapter 3 is tree. 3 and tree. That's how you can remember it. Tree. Tree. So the first 9 verses is about the principle of Tyag or renunciation. Verses number 10 to 16 speak something about the yoga ladder, rungs on the yoga ladder. You know what's rung on a ladder? There are the different steps. Those are called the rungs on the ladder. So there is something called the yoga ladder, different levels or different types of yoga, which is explained in this section 10 to 16. 17 to 35 speaks about how everyone should live an exemplary life, especially leaders should live an exemplary life, set an example for others. That is 17 to 35. And the last section, which is 36 to 43, speaks about the enemy of the soul, or our greatest enemy. If you are thinking that there is some enemy, my neighbor is my enemy or whatever, so this section speaks about the greatest enemy that all of us have, right? Enemy of the soul. So this is in essence the demarcations or the subsections of chapter 3. Okay. So as I explained to you, chapter 2 basically is called Contents of the Gita Summarized. Chapter 2, in one sense, Lord Krishna spoke everything he wanted to speak. He touched karma, he touched jnana, he touched bhakti. Lord Krishna has touched various topics. Now, at the start of chapter 3, Arjuna has a question. And because Arjuna is asking this question, Lord Krishna continues the Gita. Because Arjuna knew that for all of us, we will need more explanations. So on behalf of all of us, Arjuna is asking this question. So when a great soul is asking a question, it is not for him. It is so that all of us can get benefit. Like in Bhagavatam, you have Parikshit Maharaj asking question to Shukdev Goswami. He's asking Shukdev Goswami, what is the duty of a person who is about to die? Parikshit already knows everything. But he's asking the question so that that discussion can benefit all of us. So Arjuna begins the 3rd chapter by asking a question. Arjuna Uvacha Jayasi che karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tattim karmani ghore mam niyojasi keshava. So Arjuna is asking Lord Krishna, my dear Janardhan, my dear Krishna, why do you want me to fight in this war if you think knowledge is better than work? Why is Arjuna asking this question? Because in the 2nd chapter, Lord Krishna has spoken about karma also, and Lord Krishna has spoken about jnana also. He's spoken about karma yoga, doing duty, and Krishna has spoken about knowledge, buddhi yoga. So Arjuna is thinking, why did Krishna speak so many things? So Arjuna wants to know very clearly, my dear Lord, please tell me what I should do. Don't confuse me with two different things. Don't tell me to fight also, and don't tell me to gain knowledge also. So Arjuna wants to know very clearly which path I should follow, whether I should follow the path of knowledge or whether I should follow the path of karma. See, Arjuna at this point is not able to understand what real renunciation is. So Arjuna's confusion is this. He thinks that spirituality means retirement from active life. This is what most people have an idea of spirituality. People feel spiritual life means I have to take sannyas, I have to just give up everything and go. Arjuna is not able to understand that real sannyas means being detached from the spirit of being a doer. See, if you understand this concept of renunciation, what is true renunciation? What is this? What can we renounce in one sense? Nothing belongs to us. So in one sense, we cannot renounce anything. So the biggest sense of renunciation is renouncing our ego. That I am the doer. Renouncing this is most important. Otherwise, people may externally be a renunciate, but still that ego is so prominent, then what are we renounced? So Lord Krishna is trying to, in this chapter and the chapters ahead, Lord Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna, real renunciation is not about changing dress. It is not about changing from this position to that. That's not renunciation. That's what Arjuna was thinking. Arjuna's idea of renunciation was, I am a Kshatriya, I have to go and become a Brahmana, I have to take up duties of sannyas. That is renunciation. Lord Krishna says renunciation means do what you are doing, but in a detached spirit. Do it in the service of Krishna. That's what Lord Krishna is trying to explain. So Lord Krishna says that there are two paths. One is the path of karma, one is the path of jnana. Some people love the path of karma, some people love the path of jnana, but ultimately it will all come to the same destination. So in text 6, Lord Krishna mentions a very important shloka. Karmendriyani samyamya ya asate manasa smaran indriyartan vimodhatma mityachara sa uchyate. Lord Krishna says, externally one may take sannyas, but still internally someone is thinking about desires for sense objects. So such a person is called a mithyachari. So Lord Krishna is here explaining the difference between honesty and hypocrisy. There are many people in this world who may follow a path of spirituality, but internally they still have this enjoying mindsets and they have the past conditioning so strong, which is there. So Lord Krishna is explaining to Arjuna, better you be a fighter, do a Kshatriya honestly, rather than trying to imitate the duty of a sannyas, which you are not meant to do at this level. That's what Lord Krishna is trying to tell here. Srila Prabhupada, in text 7, the next shloka, Prabhupada mentions a very beautiful sentence. Prabhupada says, you all can see this, chapter 7, the end of the purport. Prabhupada says, a sincere street sweeper is far better than a charlatan meditator who meditates only for the sake of a living. Lord Krishna is saying here, better to be a sincere street sweeper rather than to be a hypocrite meditator. So that is the principle. Lord Krishna is trying to tell that you may want to renounce at this point, you may artificially renounce, but because you are not ready for this level, you'll go to the forest and still you'll have so many thoughts about sense gratification, right? So real renunciation is not to abandon external activities, but to abandon the mentality that I am the controller and enjoyer. Srila Prabhupada would give this example. When Prabhupada was in the West America, Prabhupada would say, if you are passing through Bank of America and you say, I renounce Bank of America, what does it mean? It really doesn't mean anything. Because this Bank of America was never yours. For you to renounce something has to be yours. Na? What is ours that we can renounce? Everything is Krishna's only, isn't it? So there is nothing that we can actually renounce. The only thing that we have to renounce is the mentality that I am the enjoyer, I am the controller. This is the only mentality we have to renounce. And how do we do it? By following the process of offering whatever Krishna has given us to him back. This body, the mind, senses, wealth, house, everything Krishna only has given us, isn't it? If Krishna's sanction is not there, can we have anything? We cannot have anything. So the principle of renunciation is whatever you have, you give it to Krishna's service. If Krishna has given you a lot of wealth, use that. If Krishna has given you little, whatever you have, you use it in Krishna's service. That is the principle of renunciation. Therefore, in our Vedic scriptures, you have people called Raja Rishi. What is Raja Rishi? Generally, the understanding is Raja is one thing and Rishi is one thing. How can you have Raja Rishi? That is the beauty of the spirit of renunciation. A king doing the duty of a king, but the mentality of a Rishi. Because the king understands that this position that I have is given by Krishna to be used in Krishna's service. So then you are not affected by that. So therefore, this is what Krishna is trying to explain here. So in text 9, Lord Krishna explains the principle of yajna. So we discussed in this previous slide, how do we renounce? By performing yajna. And what does yajna mean? Lord Krishna explains here. This is a very important verse. You all can repeat this verse after me. Yajnartha karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tad artam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara yajnata karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartam karma kaunteya Mukta Sangha Samachara. So Lord Krishna is saying, Yagyartha Karmano Anyatra. So this chapter, this is a very important verse for this chapter. This chapter is called Karma Yoga. The spirit of Karma Yoga is explained in this verse. Yagyartha Karmano Anyatra. What does Yagya mean? Work done as a sacrifice to Vishnu. So general understanding of Yagya that we have is, you should have a Havan Kund and then do Yagya. That is not always Yagya. Yagya means whatever we do it as a sacrifice for Krishna. If you're working, whatever you're doing, for Arjuna he was fighting, you use every activity as a sacrifice to Krishna, that is called Yagya. By doing this, what will happen? Loko yam karma bandhana. You will get delivered. Mukta Sangha Samachara. You will get delivered. If you use your activities to serve Krishna, you will get free from all bondage. If you don't do, then what will happen? You will get bound. Yagyartha karmano anyatra. Lord Krishna is saying, if you don't use activities to serve Krishna, lokoyam karma bandhana, you will get bound. But if you use it in the service of Krishna, tad artham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. The doors to liberation will be opened. Yeah, please.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
See, we do our jobs to fulfill the duties, whatever we have towards our family. How can we take it as a sacrifice towards beauty of Krishna?
Yeah, so you do your job for the family. So you see your family members as Krishna's devotees, inspire them, in Krishna's service. Whatever is cooked at home, try to offer it to Krishna, like that. And whatever little money you get, offer it in the service of Vaishnavas, call Vaishnavas home, serve them, help in pushing the mission. So that means you are doing it. So why we are doing what we are doing? So the principle of karma is activity. Karma yoga means activities in connection with Krishna. What makes ordinary karma into karma yoga? The intention. It's not about the activity. It's about the intention. Why you are doing what you are doing? Are you working for your own sense gratification? Are you working for Krishna's pleasure? Are you taking care of the family just because it's your duty? Or are you taking care of the family because you want to help the family become Krishna conscious? Right? This is what is important. See, we may be in a family unit. At this point, we are attached to our family members. But these family members are not going to be there eternally. For this short duration of time, 2-3 souls are together in one house. It's not that someone is going to be there eternally there. So as you are spending time together, helping each other in Krishna consciousness is what family life is about. So if you do this, then it is yajna. So this is the spirit of sacrifice, the spirit of karma yoga, that whatever you do, use it as a service for Krishna. Do it in the mood of seva, right? So this is what Lord Krishna explains here in this first section, 1 to 9. Now, section number 10 to 16 is a very interesting section. Lord Krishna explains, when Lord Krishna, in text 10 if you see, Lord Krishna explains, when he created this world, ultimately this world is created by Krishna, right? By God. So the Lord created humans and the Lord created demigods, devatas. Different devatas are responsible for different things. Indra is responsible for rain, everything. And Lord made a system of yajna. For human beings, a system of yajna. What is the system of yajna? You do some sacrifice for the demigods, acknowledging their presence. Then what happens? By doing that sacrifice, yajna, the demigods become happy. They get their share of ahuti. So they become happy and they give you what you need. So in this way, Lord Krishna explains, this is a system where there is cooperation between humans and demigods. So Lord Krishna says, Devan bhavayantena tu deva bhavayantuya parasparam bhavayanta shreyam prapam avapsyata. Parasparam means cooperation, mutual cooperation. So if you follow the system of yajna, where you are acknowledging the presence of demigods, doing something for them, they will also give you. And then Lord Krishna says, this is a very beautiful verse, text 12. Ishtan bhogan hi vo deva dasyante yajna bhavita ter dattan apradha yajbhyo Yo bhungte stena evasa. Lord Krishna says, see, ultimately, whatever we get is given by Krishna through the demigods. Through the agency of demigods, Krishna gives us various things. Like food. We make food in factory or it's given by God? Given by God. Rain given by God. Everything given by God. So if everything is given by God through the demigods, shouldn't we offer something back to them in a grateful heart? That's what we should do. If we don't do it, Lord Krishna says, Stena, yo bhungte stena evasa. Stena means thief. Who is a thief? Who is a chore? Who takes someone else's property and tries to use it. So this is a thief mentality. Krishna has given us everything. If you don't use it in Krishna's service, we are a thief. One time, there was one glass merchant who came to meet Srila Prabhupada. You know how you make glass? From silica, which you get in the sand. You make glass and you make a business. So Prabhupada, this one very big businessman is coming to meet Prabhupada, and he's using this, he's made a lot of money with this glass business. So Prabhupada told him straight, Prabhupada told him, you're a thief. Imagine, only Prabhupada can do that. No one else can do it. And no one else should do it also. Prabhupada told him, you're a thief. Because you are using Krishna's property and you're not giving anything to Krishna. So this person said, Prabhupada, I give little donation also. Prabhupada said, then you're a smaller thief. So the idea is, Krishna has given us everything. We are supposed to use things in Krishna's service. Text 13 is another very important verse. Yagya shista shina santo muchyante sarva kilbishe bunjate to agam papa ye pachanti atma karanat. Very important verse for devotees. Let's read the translation as it is. Devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sin because they eat food which is first offered to Krishna in sacrifice. Those who prepare food for sense gratification verily eat sin only. Very clear verse. Yagya shistina shanto muchante sarva kilbishay. When we eat food which is offered to Krishna, we are freed from all sins. If we don't eat food which is offered to Krishna, if we eat it for our own enjoyment, what we are eating is only sinful reactions. Bunjate to agam papa ye pachanti atma karanat. So this principle of offering food is the principle that is used for everything else. Anything that is, the food is ultimately given by Krishna, everything in this world comes from Krishna. If you don't offer it to Krishna in a mood of gratitude, we just eat it like that or enjoy the things of this world without offering it to Krishna, we are accumulating sin. So this is the idea behind offering prasad. We understand that Krishna has given us, we offer it to Krishna and then have. So this is a very important principle. Text 14, Lord Krishna explains, Annat bhavanti bhutani parjanyat anna sambhava yagyat bhavati parjanyo yagya karma samudbhava. Lord Krishna, this is a very interesting flowchart. Very logical, very scientific. Lord Krishna says, Annat bhavanti bhutani. See, we are speaking about the cycle of sacrifice. How we are dependent on Krishna and the demigods to survive. Annat bhavanti bhutani. We all living entities need food, grains to survive. How does grain come from? Parjanyat anna sambhava. When it rains, then grains come. How do rains come? So grains come from rain. How does rain come from? Yagya bhavati parjanyo. When you do yagya, then rains come. That means, what does yagya means? In one sense, devotion to Krishna. So in a society where everyone is God conscious, there will be no dearth of rains. And as people become more and more atheistic, we will see all natural calamities coming. We will see rains going less, heat picking up. You can see the heat now. Just March starting, already it's like really burning. So all this is because of atheism. Outside people will never understand this. The scientists, they are all figuring it out, what is happening, global warming, this, that. They find different solutions to it. They have different ways to address the problem. But the Gita understanding is this. The reason why there is so many issues is the demigods are not happy. Demigods are all devotees of Krishna. Why should they give rain when people are becoming so atheistic? Rains will not come. Earth will not give grains. Previously, if someone is a very God conscious way the society is, you put grain in the earth, automatically the plants will come. Now you put so many things, still the earth is not giving. The capacity to give is there, but it is withdrawing because Dharati is consort of the Lord. She doesn't want to give when the children are not becoming devotees of Krishna. So in this way, Lord Krishna explains when we perform a prescribed duties, karma, in accordance with Vedic scriptures, then automatically rains will come, everything will come. So this is how Lord Krishna explains the different rungs on the yoga ladder. So 10 to 16, this section speaks about different rungs on the yoga ladder. The yoga ladder, to attain Krishna, if you have to climb up a ladder, this different yoga paths are a ladder. So there are different rungs, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, right? So the first basic thing is materialistic people who are just interested in enjoyment. Their only goal of life is to enjoy. Little better than these people, the next level on the yoga ladder is called karma kand. Karma kand means you fulfill your desires through the Vedic way. Like if you want some sense gratification, you do a particular yajna to a demigod and then you get your desires fulfilled. This is the next level. Higher than this is called, higher than karma kand is called sakam karma yoga. Karma yoga means whenever the principle of yoga comes, connection with Krishna is there. Sakam karma yoga means you're doing a certain activity, you're trying to do bhakti to Krishna, right? You're trying to offer your activities to Krishna, but you're attached to the fruits of the activity. You also want some result. Better than Sakam Karma Yoga, the next level is called Nishkam Karma Yoga, where you offer it to Krishna without expecting anything, in a very selfless way, without aspirations or without expectations. And then further ahead of Nishkam Karma Yoga, when someone performs this kind of Nishkam Karma Yoga, one comes to the platform of Jnana. Knowledge gradually develops. And from knowledge, Bhakti gradually comes. So these are the various levels that Lord Krishna explains in this section 10 to 16, how by starting the process of yoga, one gradually climbs higher and higher. So there are two ways in which you can climb this ladder or steps. We give this example during our Journey of Self-Discovery course. Na? If reaching God is like reaching 100 floors, you climb the steps one way, other is sit in the lift and go. Okay? So general way is someone starts karma kand, then sakam karma, jnana, dhyan, bhakti. It may take many, many lifetimes. Therefore, Lord Krishna tells in the Gita, bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan ma prapadyate. After many lifetimes, some yogi can reach me. So that is one way to go through gradually. The other way is lift. Like in Bombay, you have, when you go to a station, you have slow train, fast train. Okay? So this yoga ladder is slow train, dire dire, stops at every station. And the other is fast train. Sita, sit here, direct spiritual world. And that is the train that Mahaprabhu has started. Different yajnas that is explained here. But the highest yajna that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to give is Sankirtan yajna. By performing Sankirtan yajna, straight one, passes all the stages very fast and goes to the highest stage of attaining Bhakti to Krishna. Okay? So this was the next section, 10 to 16, which speaks about different rungs on the ladder. The first was the principle of Tyag, renunciation. So Lord Krishna clarified the principle of renunciation is to renounce the ego and to do whatever you are doing in the spirit of surrendering to Krishna, serving Krishna. Rungs on the yoga ladder, 10 to 16, different levels, but the highest ultimately is the process of Bhakti Yoga. Now the next section, 17 to 35, Lord Krishna speaks, this is a very important section, how one should live an exemplary life. See, Arjuna, his idea, his thought was, my dear Krishna, why should I fight? If I'm a knowledgeable guy, if I'm very knowledgeable, I know fighting is wrong, Why should I fight? I can just give up everything and go to the Himalayas and meditate. Lord Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna, even if you are a liberated soul, still you work so that you set a proper example for others. So Lord Krishna is saying, even if you are liberated, you work so that you set a proper example. Otherwise, people who are not on that level, you may be a great soul, you can do this. But those who are not on your level may imitate you and they may actually fall down. So, as leaders, we all have to set an example. And Lord Krishna says in this set of verses that even king like Janaka, text 20, Lord Krishna says, Karmanaiva hi samsiddhim astita janakadaya loka sangramam evapi sampashyan kartum arhasi. So Lord Krishna says, even kings like Janaka, who is like a great Mahajan, the father of Sita Maiya, he also was a liberated soul. Still, he acted like a king, did his duties to set an example. So Lord Krishna uses the word Loka Sangraham in order to teach people in general, in order to educate people, you have to perform your activity. And this famous shloka, you can repeat this shloka after me. Yad yad acharati shreshtas tat tad eve tarojana sayad paramanam kurute lokastat anuvartate. Whatever action a great man performs, the common men follow. Hare Krishna. Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. Whatever standard he sets, the others will follow. Yad yad acharati shreshtas. Prabhupada would quote this verse very often. Prabhupada was very intelligent in his preaching. Whenever Prabhupada would meet politicians, whenever Prabhupada would meet leaders of religious organizations, Prabhupada would quote this. Prabhupada would tell them, you're a leader. Everyone likes to be called a leader. Whether they are a leader or not, everyone likes to be called. Na? So Prabhupada would tell them, you're a leader. You're a politician. People look up to you. If you take up to the process of bhakti, so many people will do it. This is how Prabhupada would inspire. And this is a fact. In the land of India, how religious transmission has ever happened, like when Gautam Buddha was there and the followers of Buddha, at one point they converted the entire land of India to Buddhism. How? Chandragupta Maurya, correct? So they made him a Buddhist. Just by the king become a Buddhist, the whole place turned into Buddhism. That is how a leader has an influence. When the leader does something, it actually follows. The people also start to follow. So leader setting an example is important. Lord Krishna is saying, Arjuna, you are a leader. What you do is going to become the norm for others. The common men will just follow. And Lord Krishna gives this example. Lord Krishna says, what to speak about you, Arjuna? I am the Lord. I am the creator of this world. I don't have any duties. Still, I am doing my duty. There was any need for Krishna to, drive the chariot of Arjuna, do all these duties? Was there any need for Lord Krishna to go and herd cows? Why Krishna to do all this? Lord Krishna is trying to tell everyone, I am setting by example. Whatever your duty is, please do it. Lord Krishna is a grahastha, he was a perfect grahastha. If you read Dwarka Leela of Krishna, Lord Krishna had 16,000 wives. Through every wife, he had 10 children. Lord Krishna got every son, every daughter of his married. He did everything properly. He did all his dharma. Every day in the morning, he would get up as a grahastha, he would give dhan to brahmanas, he would do his morning prayers. Everything Lord Krishna did. Was there any need for him to do all this? But he's doing it to set an example. So in this way, Lord Krishna is saying, you also please set an example. So this mood of leadership by example. Many times we feel that leadership means only to preach. But a real leader is one who doesn't preach but just shows by example. They say actions speak more louder than words. Words are important, but more important is a leader. By action. Srila Prabhupada was in an airport and there were too many devotees crowding there. And the airport authorities were getting A little difficult to manage so many devotees. So one of the devotees, he took the mic and he said, "We request all devotees to leave the airport so that we don't create trouble." Prabhupada was the first one who stood up and started to go. And devotee said, "Prabhupada, this is not for you." Prabhupada said, "Even I am trying to be a devotee." So Prabhupada also started to walk. So when you have leadership who leads by example, in terms of humility, in terms of all these things, the followers automatically start to follow. Imagine a leader like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the leader of all the devotees. During the Gundicha Mandir Leela, when Mahaprabhu was cleaning this Gundicha temple, Mahaprabhu was personally cleaning with his own hands, seeing that the devotees were so inspired to do it. So this kind of leadership is something that is so very important that people automatically start to follow. So this is what Lord Krishna explains in this section 17 to 35. There are some few important verses. Lord Krishna explains this point, how that Krishna is the controller and we are only dependers on Krishna. So therefore you have this verse, text 27. Prakate kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. As spirit souls, when we are bewildered, vimudatma means foolish person. Who's a foolish person? Ahankara vimudatma. When you feel proud, you're foolish. If you are intelligent, you will be humble. Lord Krishna is himself so humble. He is driving the chariot of Arjuna. Very, very humble. But people who are so insignificant small souls, we feel we are so great and we feel we are the doer, we are the controller. But we are not the controller, we are only dependent on Krishna's mercy. Without Krishna's mercy, we cannot do anything. After the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna was feeling that I am the hero of this war. Even though Krishna orchestrated everything, but this feeling is there that I am great. After the war of Kurukshetra and after Lord Krishna wound up with his pastimes, Arjuna went to Dwarka to bring all the queens of Krishna back to Hastinapur. Some coward boys defeated Arjuna. And Arjuna was thinking, the Bhagavatam explains first canto, Arjuna had the same Gandhi with the same arrows, same Arjuna, same Rath, but Arjuna is not able to do it. Because that time it was Krishna's mercy. Krishna wanted Arjuna to be victorious. This time Krishna doesn't want. So when Krishna pulls that power, even a powerful person can become powerless. So this is a big foolishness to think that we are the controllers when we are actually just dependers. So Lord Krishna explains another very important principle here. See, we may be on a certain level. This is a very important principle that Lord Krishna is speaking here. We may be on a certain level in terms of practicing bhakti. The others may not be on that level. We have to be very sensitive how we deal with others. So Lord Krishna in text 26 he says, so as to not disrupt the minds of ignorant person, a learned person should not induce them to stop work, rather than he should engage them in all sorts of devotional activities. So Lord Krishna is explaining this point that as devotees, we have to be very sensitive how we deal with people. Hare Krishna.
Sorry.
No, no, no. Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada was a great preacher, a very advanced personality, but Prabhupada was very sensitive how he dealt with people. Right? So Prabhupada, when he first went to America, he was sponsored. He didn't have any money. He was sponsored by one person called Gopal Agarwal, one of his known contacts. His son, Gopal Agarwal, he sponsored. So Gopal Agarwal was married to an American girl called Sally Agarwal. So Prabhupada stayed, the first few months, Prabhupada stayed at their place in Butler, Pennsylvania. And this lady, this girl, American girl, she would be talking to Prabhupada and she would be smoking cigarettes. And she would smoke this the smoke into Prabhupada. I mean, she was doing it because that was natural to her. That's what she was accustomed to. And then while she was doing it, she would tell Prabhupada, please don't mind. Prabhupada said, no problem, no problem. Prabhupada had no other choice. If he told her, throw the cigarettes away, they would tell her, you please go away. Again, and then we don't have this Krishna conscious movement. The fridge that Prabhupada used, he had his vegetables. He was sharing this fridge with this lady, and she had non-veg in that fridge. If Prabhupada had to tell her at that point, throw this, she would tell her, please go away. Right? So Prabhupada knew how to deal with people. So this is how Prabhupada gradually actually raised people. And this lady, Sally Agarwal, she just passed away a couple of years ago. She didn't become like a Krishna conscious devotee. But throughout her life, she would always say, if I had met any gentleman in my life, that was Srila Prabhupada. She had so much love for Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada touched a chord in her heart. Right? So Prabhupada, the way Prabhupada started ISKCON, Prabhupada was dealing with a group of American boys and girls, hippies, who were used to all wrong things. Prabhupada was slowly molding them. The first Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra deity in ISKCON, you know how they were created? There was one devotee, one disciple of Prabhupada, Shyam Sundar Prabhu. He was a carpenter by profession. He was very good at it. So Prabhupada in some shop, he found small deities of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, and he told this boy, Shyam Sundar, you please make big deities of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra. So this boy was just coming into Krishna consciousness, started chanting, but wrong habits, the past conditionings don't go away so quickly, na? So he would chant Hare Krishna, and when he would get too bored, he would go and smoke a cigarette and come, without anyone knowing. In his own style, he would do it. So Prabhupada went one time to his room to see what this guy was doing, to see what the progress of the deity is. On the deity of Jagannath is a cigarette packet. On the deity of Jagannath. So what will Prabhupada do? So Prabhupada, few boys and girls, if Prabhupada had to chastise them at that point, they would just leave and go. So Prabhupada told him very nicely, why is this piece of stick coming between you and Krishna? And Prabhupada went away. And this boy actually gave up smoking cigarette. So dealing with people is very important. We become very strict with ourselves, but we have to also be a little sensitive to deal with others. So Lord Krishna is telling this point, do not disturb people. Try to elevate. So this is a maturity of a preacher, maturity of a devotee. He knows how to elevate people higher, not that we completely disturb them from whatever faith they have. Like in Krishna consciousness, you have so many people who come to the movement who already have some faith somewhere else. They may be a worshipper of Shiva, they may be having certain faith in some demigods. So if you outrightly you tell them, throw all that away, worship Krishna. If you do at that point, it's not going to work. You have to slowly help them raise their faith. Right? Many times we are so much in the mood of urgency, we want to get the whole thing done then and there, the whole surgery. We have to be a little patient with dealing with people. That's what Lord Krishna explains here. We have to deal with people very, very patiently so that we can show ourselves as a very mature leader. Text 30 is a very important verse in this section. Mai sarvani karmani sanyas adhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yuddhasva vigatajvara. Therefore, so basically Lord Krishna is concluding this section of karma, of becoming an exemplary person. Lord Krishna says, therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me, by sarvani karmani, sanyas adhyatma chetasa, with full knowledge of me. So Arjuna is in this mood of sannyas. He wants to wrap it up. He wants to take to the principle of renunciation. Lord Krishna is telling here, the principle of renunciation is Mai sarvani karmani. Surrender all your works to me. Adhyatma chetasa is full knowledge of me. And then Lord Krishna says Nirashi. Nirashi means without desire for profit. Nirmamo, without claims for proprietorship. Yujjasva vigata jvara. fight with enthusiasm. See, generally, the shloka is a little difficult to understand. When you tell people, fight, do your duty enthusiastically, why will someone do what he wants to do? He will first think in mind what I will get in return. Right? If you have to work like 20 hours a day, 15 hours a day, only if you know that at the end of the month you're going to get like a big chunk of money, you will work. When we have to do something very enthusiastically, we only do it when there is something for me, my desire, my ego, my proprietorship. But Lord Krishna is explaining a very different principle, the principle of sannyas. You don't have desire for yourself, you don't have any feeling of proprietorship, you do it with enthusiasm for Krishna's pleasure. You do it with double enthusiasm. So, devotee's life is not a lazy life. If materialistic people can be active, devotees can be super active. Because the impetus that drives us is higher than what is driving them. For materialistic people, the impetus is sense gratification. For devotees, the impetus is serving Krishna, showing compassion to others. That's a very great impetus that can push you to great levels of enthusiasm. So Lord Krishna is saying, Yuddhasva Vigata Jwara. Please get up and fight with enthusiasm. Because Arjuna is becoming demotivated, Krishna is inspiring Arjuna in this direction. The next two verses, 31 and 32, Lord Krishna explains, if you don't follow Krishna, and if you follow Krishna, what are the results? So Lord Krishna says in 31, people who follow their duties according to Krishna's instructions, they become free from bondage. Shraddhanvanto nashuyanto muchyante pi karmabi. Text 31, what Lord Krishna is saying is, if you follow Krishna's instructions, what will happen? Muchyante sarva karmabi. You are freed from all karma, bondage. You are freed. But if you don't follow, text 32, Lord Krishna says, those who out of envy don't follow Krishna's teachings, they are ruined in their endeavors for perfection. So we all have a choice whether we want to follow Krishna or not follow Krishna. If you follow Krishna, it's ultimately for our own benefit. So basically, this is this section of I think 17 to 35. And then Lord Krishna is basically inspiring Arjuna in this call of duty. So now finally, okay, before we go to text, the last section, one important verse, text 35. This is a very important verse to understand. Shreyan swadharmo viguno paradharmat swa anusthitat swadharme nidanam shreya paradharmo bhavaya. So Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, better to do your duty even though there is fault in it, rather than doing your duty of someone else perfectly. So this is a very important principle, because Arjuna is a Kshatriya. He wants to act like a Brahmana. His propensity is a Kshatriya propensity. He wants to act like a Brahmana. Lord Krishna is saying, you will mess it up. You will mess it up. You will try to become a Brahmana and you will be a misfit there completely. Rather, do what your nature tells you to do. So the process of bhakti is not about changing natures. It is about identifying your nature and dovetailing the nature in Krishna's service. In today's world, where everyone wants to, everyone is trying to compare with others, what he's doing. This is a big problem in this world. If you try to compare with others, then you don't become successful in life. The formula for success is identifying your nature and then follow according to that nature. Srila Prabhupada, who was an ideal preacher, when disciples would come to Srila Prabhupada and ask Prabhupada, in what way we should serve Krishna? What do you want us to do? Prabhupada would throw the question back to them. Prabhupada would ask them, what would you like to do for Krishna? Many times Prabhupada told them what to do, but most often Prabhupada would ask them, what inspires you the most? What is your nature? So once we connect our nature in Krishna's service, we can lifelong serve Krishna in that particular way. Very happily we can serve. And in this way, everyone can actually become successful. In today's world of competition, where everyone wants to become an engineer, everyone wants to become a successful in a particular way, this is Gita's formula. Find your nature and work on that nature. I mean, we were trying to park our car this side, but there's some work going on. We parked our vehicle but at the back. And when we parked, this our pav bhaji bhaiya. And I was telling our boy that, I've spoken about him n number of times in my classes. Previously, 25 years ago, this building was never there. One gada down there. And he would sell pav bhaji and pulao. People would have big lines. I remember in our childhood, we have taken from him so many times. Just by doing that, he has like a big bungalow in Altino. Huge bungalow. A big shop here. Just by doing this. Followed his nature. But sincerely, he's doing that for almost like 30 years now. But he's grown. So find your nature, do it. Recipe for success. Gita explains that also. The last section is a very important section. We will end with this section. Arjuna now is asking a question to Krishna. Text 36. Very important question. Arjuna vacha atakena prayukto yam papam charati purusha anichan api vasneya baladiva niyojita. Arjuna is asking Krishna a very interesting question. My dear Krishna, even though we don't want to commit a sinful act, we know it is wrong. Everyone who does something wrong, it is not that he doesn't know it's wrong. Everyone knows it is wrong. But there is some force that pushes us in that direction. All of us have experienced it, right? There is something that forces us to go in that direction. So Arjuna is asking Krishna, what is that force? Text 37, Lord Krishna says, Shri Bhagavan Vacha Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajagunat Samudbhava Mahashano Mahapapma Vidhi Enam Ihavairinam. Lord Krishna says, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of the mode of passion, which later becomes anger. That is our greatest enemy in this world. So the last section was T, that stood for E, that stood for enemy of the soul. Right? So this last section, 37 till ending 43, is this enemy of the soul. And what is the enemy, our greatest enemy? Lust. Lust, yes. Yeah, desire only. It is lust. So it is not, our greatest enemy is not people out there. Our greatest enemy is already within our system. We are looking for enemies outside, but no one can harm us outside. Our own mind, our corrupted minds and lust is our biggest enemy. And how is lust born? Rajoguna samudbhava. Rajoguna is passion. We all know there are three modes of nature: Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamogun. From Rajogun, passion, lust is born. Rajogunat samudbhava. And when lust is not fulfilled, lust becomes anger. Kama esha krodesha. So Prabhupada explains, lust is something, you fulfill it, it becomes greed for more. If you don't fulfill it, it leads to anger. And Lord Krishna explained, these are three doors to hell. Lust, anger, greed. Three royal roads that take you to hellish life. So Lord Krishna is saying, this is our greatest enemy. So Prabhupada explains, I'm literally speaking this in every class. I hope all of you are going back and reading purports. These purports are really brilliant. So Prabhupada explains in the purport, that actually what is lust? Lust, originally in our heart, we all have love for Krishna. In our heart, in our pure heart, we all have love for Krishna. When that love for Krishna comes in touch with the mode of passion, that original love becomes lust. So lust is basically perverted form of love. Vikrit roop of love. Understanding? So in one sense, our original love for Krishna is converted into lust. Love for God has become love for the things of this world. So in one sense, it is very difficult to convert it back. Very difficult. Just like milk becomes curd, very difficult to convert it back. So once lust becomes love becomes lust, very difficult to convert it back. But Prabhupada explains the process of bhakti is so powerful, even a late beginner can become successful. The process of bhakti is so powerful that even if you have so many lusty propensities, bhakti can actually transform our heart. And then Lord Krishna explains different levels of lust that is there in all our hearts. And then Lord Krishna says, text 39, Avritam jnanam etena jnanino nitya vairina kamarupena kaunteya dushpurena palanena cha. So this lust, Avritam jnanam etena. We are all pure souls, but as soon as you have lust, the desire to enjoy, it covers your knowledge. Like in Ramayana, you have Ravan was personification of lust. All his knowledge was covered. Ravan was a Brahmana, by the way. He knew all the Vedas, much more than any of us will know. But what was the use of it? Lust covered all his knowledge. Jnanam, avritam jnanam etena. Jnanino nitya vairina becomes an eternal enemy. And the characteristic of lust is never satisfied. Dushpurena alanena cha. Dushpurena means never satisfied. How much ever you fulfill lust, it will burn more. Like you have fire, you put ghee in fire, will the fire be satisfied? It will burn more. So the more we enjoy, it burns more. Coming back to the example of Ravan, he had so many ladies to enjoy with, still he wanted more. Never ever satisfied. This is the nature of lust. And where does lust stay? Where are the places in which lust stays? Lord Krishna explains in text 40, the sitting places of lust. Indriyani manobuddhir asyadhishnanam uchyate eter vimoyati esha jnanam avrit dehinam. So where is lust? Senses, mind, intelligence. So these are the senses, mind, intelligence. Basically, in one sense, the whole system is corrupted. That's not one part that is free. The whole system, especially in Kali Yuga, is corrupted with this disease of lust. You keep seeing, you keep hearing. The vibrations are so strong. The whole thing is corrupted. So as I told you, in one sense, it's a very difficult game. It's a very difficult game to gain the original purity back. Very, very difficult. Therefore, Lord Krishna explains in text 41, Tasma tvam indriyani ado niyamya bharata shrabha papmanam prajahi enam jnana vijnana nashanam. Tasmad is therefore. So Lord Krishna is concluding this section of lust saying, therefore Arjuna, from the very beginning, control lust. Tasmad tvam indriyani ado. Indriyani ado has two meanings. What are the two meanings? Prabhupada explains in the purport. Indriyani ado, first meaning is, Lord Prabhupada explains here, one has to follow brahmacharya discipline from childhood. This is the first principle Prabhupada explains. The training has to happen in the younger ages. Therefore, in Gurukul, this training of brahmacharya was given. Once corrupted, very difficult. In English, there is a saying, precaution is better than cure. If you take precaution is better. The cure is very, very difficult. First understanding of ado, beginning. Second understanding is, see, lust enters into the intelligence and mind through the senses. Our eyes see something, we hear something, then only it reaches the mind. No? Ado means control in this level. If you can control your senses, then it will not reach the level of the mind and intelligence. It is better. Once the disease enters deeper, very difficult to remove. You can control it on the level of the senses, much easier to deal with. This is the second meaning of ado. Tasmatvam indriyani ado. And then Lord Krishna explains the sequence in which our senses and mind are placed. Text 42, last two verses. Indriyani parani ahur indriyebhya paramana manastu para buddhi yo buddhe parastu sa. So Lord Krishna says, now ultimately all the system is corrupted. Lust has entered everywhere. How we can conquer it? Lord Krishna says, superior to senses is mind. Higher than mind is intelligence. Higher than intelligence is soul. And higher than soul is super soul. So, the only way we can deal with lust is when we work on the platform of the Atma. When we connect that soul to the super soul through the process of bhakti, then only the whole system can get purified. Therefore, the last shloka, Lord Krishna says, Evam buddhe param buddhva samsnabhyatmanam atmana jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupa durashadam. Thus, knowing oneself transcendental to the material senses, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, which is Krishna consciousness. And thus, by spiritual strength, conquer this inconquerable enemy called lust. So, Lord Krishna is saying here, by deliberate spiritual intelligence. That means the Atma has to get connected with the wisdom of Gita, which is coming from Krishna. So, by the wisdom of Gita, by the holy names of Krishna, this disease can go away. And we have like n number of examples. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, you have the example of Jagai Madai, who were very, very sinful. By coming in association of devotees, the wisdom of Gita, by coming in chanting with Hare Krishna, the transformation has happened. So similarly, if you follow this process of bhakti, then this whole transformation will come. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anyone has any questions, any comments? Verse 14. Okay. Annat bhavanti bhutani. Okay. So simple, Lord Krishna is explaining a cycle. So Lord Krishna says, we survive on grains. Grains come from rains given by Indra. How will rain come when Indra is pleased? When will Indra be pleased? When you do yajna. And yajna ultimately means Sankirtan yajna. When you chant Hare Krishna, when you do bhakti, Krishna is pleased. When Krishna is pleased, the demigods are pleased, then there will be rains. Understanding the point?
Would you not mean when there is a month of July, and then there is no rain, so people in the temple they do yajna and Anushఠān.
Correct.
Then it actually means.
Yeah. We have in ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada's one very senior disciple, Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, a particular place, I think Surat at particular time was going through a big drought. And all the devotees had faith in this. They would go out on the streets and do Nagar Kirtan. Just by doing Nagar Kirtan for a few days, heavy rains came. It came in the headlines in the newspapers. Hare Krishna devotees got rains. And it's a fact. The point is, in today's world, if there is good environment, healthy environment, it's because some devotees somewhere are chanting Hare Krishna. It's only because devotees are doing what they are doing, the world is still intact. Otherwise, the world would have gone long back. So we may not understand the power just by one devotee sitting and chanting Hare Krishna or a group of devotees doing Kirtan. The effect is very, very powerful. So this is a science we have to understand with faith. This science cannot be understood in a normal way. You have to have a certain faith in this particular science that Krishna is explaining here. Okay? Thank you all very much. Yes, Pradeep.
किसी को जैसे concept जानते हैं कृष्णा is the creator, अगर मैं किसी को समझाने की कोशिश कर रहा था तो I stated करो दक्षिण विष्णु करो दक्षिण विष्णु शिव दक्षिण विष्णु ब्रह्मा करो दक्षिण विष्णु आदि से ब्रह्मा. उनका एक बहुत सिंपल क्वेश्चन था कि आप विष्णु 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 बोल रहे ब्रह्मा बोल रहे इसमें कृष्णा कहाँ है? आप कह रहे हो कृष्णा क्रिएटर है, कृष्णा कहाँ है? I had no answer to that.
Oh. So Chaitanya Charitamrita explains, anyone in Bhagavatam, how from Krishna there is Balaramji that comes. From Balaramji, Karno Dakshai Vishnu comes, Mahavishnu. From him, so many universes come. Then Karno Dakshai Vishnu expands as Garbho Dakshai Vishnu. And then like that, the whole sequence. From Garbho Dakshai Vishnu, Brahma comes.
Krishna and Balaram are born in Dwapar.
हाँ
तो अब आप creation की बात कर रहे हैं तो इधर वो पिछला द्वापर की बात कर रहे हैं आप.
हाँ तो लोग ये समझ क्यों नहीं पाते? सो पीपल हैव दिस क्वेश्चन.
Confusion लोगों के
Yeah. So people have different kinds of questions. So people say our Mahamantra is what? Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, then Hare Ram. So people say Ram came first, Krishna came later. Why you put Krishna first? So the point is, the first understanding is in a cycle, which is first, which is second. We think of time in a linear way. Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali. So we feel Treta is before Dwapar. But if you put it in a cycle, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali, it goes on like this. Which is first, which is second. That you can never make out. That is the first understanding. Second understanding is Ram, Krishna, all these personalities are eternally there in the spiritual world. It is not that before Treta Yuga there was no one as Ram. Not that. Ram is always there. At a particular time he chooses to come, but he's always there. Just like the sun rises at a particular time. When the sun is not there, when the sun is not risen, you don't say the sun is not there. The sun is there, it is visible to us at a certain time. When we say Ram Avatar, it means he appeared to the people of the world at a particular time. Before that, he was appearing to a different set of people in a different universe. Understanding point? So these are eternal personalities who are always there in the spiritual world. Just before this program, we had a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, Gaur Leela program. So there it is explained. See, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared 500 years ago in Navadip. But the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavad explains, 5,000 years ago, Lord Brahma goes to Navadip and there he sees Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu tells him, I will come here in future, you come as Haridas Thakur. So they explain that Mahaprabhu was there 5,000 years ago. Mahaprabhu was there millions of years ago. And millions of years later also he will be there. Now also at this point, Ram is not there, Lord Krishna is not there. But people who have that kind of bhakti, they still go to Vrindavan, they experience Krishna. Because these personalities are eternally there. Whether in a visible form or in a different uppercut form, the personalities are eternally there. So this understanding that Ram came in Dwapar, in Treta Yuga, before that there was no Ram, it's not a right understanding. It's not a correct understanding. You're getting the point, Bhoji?
Creation अभी भी नहीं हुआ. Creation कृष्ण ने किया तो कहाँ से किया?
कहाँ से किया? Spiritual world से. See, creation happens only in the material world. Spiritual world, there is nothing as creation. For that sense, for that matter, even Atma has no creation, no? That's what Krishna explains in that second chapter, 11 to 30. Lord Krishna explains that how the Atma is eternal. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dhati pavaka. The Atma cannot be killed, cannot be destroyed. The Atma is eternal.
So how do we explain it to a person who we are trying to tell him first time? So how do we, what would be the sequence like? We will say कि Krishna is there, spiritual world.
Yeah.
That way if we start.
Yeah, that's what. So that's how you have to explain to them. So you have to tell them, whenever people ask this question, who created and when? This question comes because we are in the material world. We always think in terms of time. When, how. Spiritual world means there is no time. This is a new concept only. We have never experienced something where there is no time. But in the spiritual world, there is nothing as time. Because there is time in this world, there is a creation, a point in which something is created, and point in which something is destroyed. Atma is also beyond time. The body has a creation and a destruction. The Atma is eternal. So if the Atma is eternal, the Atma belongs to a spiritual world, which is eternal. And the Atma comes from Krishna, who is the father of all of us, who is also eternal. So Lord Krishna is in that eternal world. This material world he creates and it runs in the cycle of creation and destruction to give opportunities for the conditioned soul to learn their lessons. Come back to him.
I tried to explain to him by saying Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I said there is no shloka which says Om Namo Bhagavate Ram or Om Namo Bhagavate Vishnu. It is only Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So which means Vasudev or Krishna is Bhagwan.
Yeah. So basically, na Boji,
That way, yeah.
see, generally, na, this discussion of who came first, Krishna or Vishnu, with new people, I never get into the discussion. Not advisable. With new people, you just tell people that Krishna and Vishnu are same. And in one sense, they are same only. In one sense, they are same. So they are same, right? So we don't get into the discussion with new people, right? So when someone who has, see, it's like education. Like suddenly someone who's just new, you give them a 10th standard knowledge, he's going to go bouncers for him. So you don't open that topic only to him. You tell them Vishnu, Krishna is same, don't get into the discussion. Just stand Hare Krishna. For new people, this is that level. So this is the point that we were explaining here. Don't disturb their faith immediately. Slowly, उनको basic पढ़ाइए, then अगला chapter अगले बार. Like that. So ये धीरे धीरे ही करना पड़ेगा. So some other time I'll show you the whole chart of how the whole creation happens. I'll explain to you all the chart, and also I'll explain to you why when people say, if someone says Krishna has come from Vishnu, Krishna is one of the avatar of Vishnu, that also is not completely wrong. We don't have to get into fights with them. I'll tell you why also some other time, right? So some एक class में नहीं, in future classes. ठीक है, thank you all very much. So the next week we meet for chapter 4, transcendental knowledge. Hare Krishna.